Michael Jackson, the king of pop or the most misunderstood legend of our time. A life of fame, fortune, and controversy. From record-breaking hits to shocking scandals, his story is one of talent, tragedy, and mystery. But what really happened behind the headlines? Stick around because today, we're going to explore the truth behind the man, the myth, the legend. Let's get started. August 1958. A small industrial town in Gary, Indiana, witnesses the birth of a child who will one day change the face of music forever. But behind the dazzling lights, chart-topping hits, and legendary dance moves, Michael Jackson's life was anything but glamorous. He wasn't just a superstar, he was a victim of his own success, shaped by a troubled childhood, an unforgiving industry, and an endless search for love he never truly found. Michael was born into a large working-class family. His parents, Joseph and Catherine Jackson, already had 8 children. While Catherine was kind and nurturing, Joe was something else entirely, a man driven by discipline, ambition, and a terrifying temper. He saw something special in his kids, especially their ability to sing and dance. But instead of nurturing their talent with love, he forced it out of them with iron fists and brutal words. When Michael was just 6, Joe formed the Jackson 5, making his children rehearse endlessly. It wasn't fun. It was grueling work. One mistake meant severe punishment. Michael would later recall how his father sat in rehearsals, belt in hand, ready to strike at the smallest error. "You weren't just practicing," Michael once said. "You were trembling." The fear was so deep that he admitted to throwing up at the mere sight of his father. Despite the abuse, the Jackson 5 began to shine. They won talent contests, performed in local clubs, and eventually caught the attention of Motown Records in 1967. Their success skyrocketed, but the more famous they became, the harder Joe pushed them. Fame came at the cost of childhood. At just 11 years old, Michael's voice carried the group's biggest hit, "I Want You Back." It was the song that made America fall in love with his talent. By now, the media was focusing less on the Jackson 5 and more on Michael alone. It was clear, he wasn't just another singer, he was the star. Michael's solo career quietly began alongside his work with his brothers. As a teenager, he released 4 solo albums, but he was just getting started. Behind the scenes, however, the pressure was unbearable. In later years, he would reflect on the cost of his childhood, saying, "I never had a birthday, never celebrated Christmas. My childhood was stolen from me." And that theft had consequences. The lack of a normal upbringing meant Michael never truly knew who he was beyond the music. But isn't this the reality for many child prodigies? Behind every young star's success is a childhood spent in relentless training, strict discipline, and sacrifice. The world sees the talent, the achievements, but rarely the cost. While others played and lived freely, Michael was rehearsing, performing, and carrying the weight of expectations. It makes you wonder, how much discipline is too much? At what point does ambition overshadow the simple joys of childhood? And is success truly worth it if it comes at the cost of one's identity? By the late 1970s, Michael was ready to step out of his brother's shadows. In 1979, at 21 years old, he released Off the Wall, an album that would change the course of his career. It wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural phenomenon. Songs like Rock With You and Don't Stop Till You Get Enough topped the charts, earning Michael his first Grammy. It was at this point that he realized something. He didn't want to be a pop star. He wanted to be the greatest of all time. But success came with new struggles. That same year, during a rehearsal, Michael fell and broke his nose. The injury required surgery, but the procedure also altered his appearance. This was the beginning of a lifelong obsession with his looks, a battle that would haunt him forever. Growing up, Joe often mocked Michael's appearance, calling him ugly and making fun of his nose. These insults, mixed with constant media scrutiny, may have triggered body dysmorphia, a mental condition where someone fixates on perceived flaws in their appearance. After his first nose surgery, Michael's face slowly started to change. What began as a medical necessity soon became a habit fueled by deep insecurities. His obsession with plastic surgery and skin treatments would become one of the biggest mysteries of his life. His father's cruel comments about his nose left lasting scars, triggering self-doubt and possibly body dysmorphia. Constant criticism, especially from a parent, can deeply impact self-perception, leading to anxiety and self-destructive behaviors. For Michael, surgery wasn't just about altering his face. It was an attempt to erase the reflection that had been ridiculed for years. Yet, the emotional scars remained. In 1982, Michael released Thriller, and the world stopped. It became the best-selling album in history, selling over 66 million copies worldwide. The singles Billie Jean, Beat It, and Thriller dominated the charts, and his iconic moonwalk dance move cemented him as a legend. At the 1984 Grammys, he took home 8 awards, setting a new record. He was no longer just a pop star, he was the king of pop. But even at the top, Michael couldn't escape tragedy. During a 1984 Pepsi commercial shoot, a horrifying accident occurred. A pyrotechnic malfunction caused Michael's hair to catch fire. He suffered severe second and third-degree burns on his scalp. Though he survived, the accident left him with chronic pain that doctors treated with painkillers. What started as necessary medication eventually spiraled into an addiction, one that would later play a major role in his downfall. Despite the trauma, Michael kept pushing forward. In 1987, he released Bad, an album that was both a massive success and a turning point. With hits like Smooth Criminal and Man in the Mirror, it sold 35 million copies. But behind the scenes, Michael's life was beginning to unravel. His relationship with his family was crumbling. He had long resented his father's control and distanced himself from his brothers. He built Neverland Ranch, a massive private estate where he tried to recreate the childhood he never had. But the bigger he became, the lonelier he felt. His insecurities worsened, and the media's obsession with his appearance and personal life took a dark turn. By the time Michael Jackson turned 30, he had already reshaped the music industry. From leading the Jackson 5 as a child star to breaking records with Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, his relentless work ethic made him the king of pop. He revolutionized music videos, introduced groundbreaking dance moves, and became the most awarded artist of his time. But this success came at a price: his childhood, personal freedom, and deep family connections. Was it worth it? The fame, fortune, and adoration were undeniable, yet he lived in isolation, constantly scrutinized by the world. His relationships were strained, and his quest for perfection led to physical and emotional struggles. This raises a tough question. Is extreme success worth sacrificing the things that make us human? Family, peace, and a sense of self. Michael's life reminds us that while ambition is admirable, true happiness lies in balance, not just achievements. In 1991, Michael Jackson was at the peak of his career. His album Dangerous became a massive success, with chart-topping singles like Black or White and Remember the Time. The album's release was followed by the Dangerous World Tour, which solidified his status as the biggest pop star on the planet. A defining moment in Jackson's career came in 1993, when he performed at the Super Bowl halftime show. His electrifying performance changed the way these shows were viewed forever, setting a new standard for entertainment. However, just months later, his life took a dark turn. In August 1993, Michael Jackson faced accusations that would haunt him for the rest of his life. A 13-year-old boy named Jordan Chandler, along with his father, Evan Chandler, accused him of inappropriate behavior. The Los Angeles police launched an investigation, leading to a media frenzy. Jackson's Neverland Ranch was raided, but no conclusive evidence was found. Despite this, the case escalated when Jackson was subjected to a humiliating body search, where authorities photographed his private parts to compare them with Chandler's description. The emotional toll was devastating. Suffering from extreme stress, Jackson struggled with depression and insomnia, leading him to use medications such as Valium. To end the legal battle, he reached an out-of-court settlement with the Chandlers for a reported $15 to $25 million. His legal team maintained that this was not an admission of guilt, but rather a way for Jackson to move on with his life. In 1994, Jackson married Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter of Elvis Presley. While Lisa Marie insisted their relationship was real, the public saw it as a desperate attempt to repair Jackson's image. The couple divorced less than 2 years later, with Lisa citing Jackson's struggles with drug addiction as a significant reason. In 1996, Jackson married Debbie Rowe, a nurse assistant at his dermatologist's clinic. Rowe gave birth to two of his children, Michael Joseph Jackson Jr., Prince, and Paris Michael Catherine Jackson. Their marriage, however, was unconventional, and many believed it was more of an arrangement than a romantic relationship. The couple divorced in 1999, with Rowe granting full custody of the children to Jackson. Speculation arose over whether Jackson was the biological father of his children, adding another layer of controversy to his life. Michael Jackson faced a new controversy in 2003 after Living with Michael Jackson was broadcast. A documentary by Martin Bashir aired. Jackson admitted to sharing his bed with children but insisted it was innocent. The media and public condemned him, and he felt betrayed, believing the documentary was edited unfairly. Even celebrities like Madonna criticized Bashir's approach. Jackson's childlike nature was deeply tied to his lost childhood. From a psychological perspective, this could be seen as regression, a defense mechanism where individuals revert to earlier developmental stages to cope with stress. Other child stars like Britney Spears and Judy Garland have exhibited similar behaviors due to fame's pressures. Jackson's fascination with children may have stemmed from his longing for genuine, innocent connections, free from the exploitation he faced. His life exemplified the tragic effects of fame, where personal struggles and childhood trauma shaped his controversial public persona. In 2004, Michael Jackson was charged with child molestation and providing alcohol to a minor. His 2005 trial was highly publicized, with witnesses testifying for both sides. Despite being acquitted after 14 weeks, his reputation suffered. His health declined, and he withdrew from the public eye, struggling with financial and personal issues. Though legally cleared, the accusations left lasting damage, affecting his career and personal life, marking a turning point in his already controversial legacy. Jackson announced his comeback tour in March 2009 with This Is It in London. The concerts were organized by AEG Live, and demand for tickets was unprecedented. However, rumors about Jackson's deteriorating health began to circulate. By this time, he was heavily dependent on propofol, a powerful anesthetic typically used for surgeries. Jackson referred to it as "my milk" due to its white color. His grueling rehearsal schedule, chronic pain, and insomnia led him to rely even more on medication. To ensure he could complete the tour, Jackson's contract with AEG included a personal doctor, Dr. Conrad Murray. Murray was responsible for managing Jackson's health, but he ultimately played a key role in his death. On June 25, 2009, Jackson's life came to a tragic end. That night, Dr. Murray administered propofol, but Jackson's body reacted differently. Instead of falling into a light sleep, he stopped breathing. Paramedics were called, but resuscitation attempts failed. Jackson was pronounced dead from acute propofol intoxication, which led to cardiac arrest. His sudden death shocked the world. Fans mourned, tributes poured in, and conspiracy theories emerged. Dr. Conrad Murray was later convicted of involuntary manslaughter, but many believed that Jackson's fate had been sealed long before that night. Michael Jackson's life was marked by talent and exploitation. Treated as a product, not a person, he faced relentless scrutiny, loneliness, and addiction. Even in death, controversy surrounds him, making his story a cautionary tale of fame's devastating cost. But what do you think? Was he truly a victim of fame, or was there something much darker behind the scenes? Do you believe his death was just medical negligence, or was there something more sinister at play? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. And if you love unraveling the mysteries of legendary icons, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.